Hello and welcome to the Third Sector. I'm your host, Tamara Brinkman. In our society, there are three sectors: the public, the private, and the nonprofit, and it's that third sector that we're here to talk about today. My guest on today's show will be Tim Pierson from DrugvFree Wayne County and Marcy Crull from Cope Environmental Center. But first, we're going to start with Tim Pierson, who is the Executive Director of DrugvFree Wayne County. Hi, Tim. Welcome to the Third Sector.
Hello, Tamara. Thank you, and it's a joy to be here with you.
Well, we appreciate
you having me.
Oh, we appreciate you giving us some time. So, to start us off, why don't you take us through when DrugvFree Wayne County started, and bring us to where you are today?
Yeah, of course. Well, DrugvFree Wayne County started really out of a initiative that began through the state back in the 1980s. A lot of people don't maybe know the history of how long we've been around. So for over 35 years now, DrugvFree Wayne County has existed. Back at that time, the governor's office had created a commission to combat drug abuse. And out of that initiative, they formed what were called local coordinating councils, or LCCs for short. So every county in Indiana has an LCC. So DrugvFree Wayne County is Wayne County's LCC. So the LCC is in essence a countywide collection of citizens who work to look at local drug and alcohol initiatives. And so we are we're provided oversight through the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute through their behavioral division. So we've been around, officially created since '87, so over 35 years now have been going strong. Had different seasons, but we're in a real good season of strength now and continuing to grow. So,
wow, I do have to say I was not aware that the organization has been around for that many years.
Yeah.
Tell us about your mission. What is it that is? What is DrugvFree's mission, and give us what would be your goal for the next 1 to 3 to 5 years. Feel free to pick that timeline that fits you best.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Well, our mission and the mission of the LCCs that were created is to support and enhance and strengthen local initiatives to not only create drug-free communities, but also to create kind of a recovery-focused communities as well. So that's sort of the mission statement. Mm-hmm. I mean, our name says it best. I mean, DrugvFree Wayne County is kind of interesting because people will comment from time to time about the drug-free portion, but it really says what it is that we're about and what we're trying to do and what our goals are. And that is to create a drug-free community. And we hope people kind of understand what we're implying there. We're not suggesting to rid the world of prescription drugs that are prescribed properly and used properly. We're not trying to create another prohibition of alcohol, this kind of stuff. And we're not so naive to think that we can just simply eradicate drugs completely from our county. But the reality is that there's a long list of very dangerous and destructive substances that are all over our county, from town to the rural areas, affecting the young and the old. And these people that are gaining access to these dangerous substances develop life-altering addictions that ultimately are community-altering addictions, penetrating into our crime, penetrating into our families, creating traumatic experiences for kids. So, in short, the idea is that, what else would we want to shoot for but to be drug-free?
Right.
I mean, particularly from the horrible agenda of the substance misuse world and those who perpetuate it,
Yeah, it definitely speaks to the why the organization exists and the need. I don't want to put you on the spot because I didn't really mention this, I think, ahead of us talking, but would you be able to give any rough numbers of how many kids are either trying or on in our community, and maybe it's not a number or percentage or just kind of a ballpark of I mean, I know it's not just for kids, but it's also for adults, but how does that break down? I mean, these are the things you want to do, the things that you can do to help, but why is our community in need of that so much?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good insight. There's kind of with students anyways, there's a real interesting dynamic that happens. And we would all agree that if one student or a small group of students is using substances or misusing them, obviously it's a bad thing. But one of the real battles that we fight is perception of use among students. So for an example, in surveys that are conducted, you will see very year in and year out, very consistently, you'll see kind of the same theme. And that is, if you ask high school students, for example, how many of your peers are out drinking every weekend and getting drunk and all this stuff, the perception of how many of their peers are doing this is always very, very large. You'll see like 70 and 80%, even in some areas as high as 85, 90%. They think everybody's doing it. But then you're getting the data that says, okay, so are you actually doing it? And that number now comes down into somewhere between 15 to 20, 25%. So there this, and 15 or 20 or 25% is still high. That's still a lot of students. You know, we have to attack that. But that's part of the problem is that it's not the majority of students that are doing it. It's not the majority of citizens that are participating, but it feels that way to people. And so sometimes, particularly with students, if they feel it's normal, they'll be more inclined to give into that peer pressure.
Right. That's very helpful. Very, excuse me, interesting lens to think about, and probably not one that we do. You know, the perception versus the reality. But as you said, the reality, it's still a high number. And so, you know, definitely want to work to bring that down. Tell us a little bit about how your organization is governed, and do you have any staff? How's that work internally with your organization?
Yeah, sure. Kind of at the highest level anyways, through the state, again, through the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute, we ultimately are reporting to them. So all of our data, our activities, you know, everything that we're doing, we're reporting directly to them for that. At the local level, however, we do have a governing board. So we have a 13 member board with tremendous people that are very passionate about the world and the work that we're doing. So they obviously provide a lot of leadership and guidance. And then we are a coalition, so all of our partners have a voice, and and have an ability to make their voice known. So we have about 125 active members of the coalition. So so that plays an important role as well. So, but yeah, and then as far as staff, there's only two persons that are paid staff people. That's myself, and then we have a youth coordinator, Tushawn Craig, who's doing a fantastic job with our youth and building some youth coalitions. So we're the only official staff members.
Right. A lot of work for two people, but thank you for doing
but we have
it.
lots of partners. Yeah, lots of help.
Taking a little bit of a turn, talk about the impact that Drug-Free Wayne County has had on the community, and then what would happen if it ceased to exist here?
Oh, that would be so sad.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we would love to.
For many reasons.
We'd love to think, hey, if we fell off the planet here, we'd be deeply missed, and I think that we would. And there's so many tangible things that happen through not just our work directly, but the collaborations. One of the very tangible things that we do, which is a function of the LCC structure, is that we have an annual grant cycle. So every year, and again, this is sometimes a piece people don't realize, but every year in Wayne County, all of the countermeasure fees that are court fees associated with drug and alcohol crimes, of those court fees go into a drug-free community fund, and money kind of compiles throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, into the fiscal year anyways, we receive those funds as an organization. We create a grant cycle to where we can then disperse a portion of that to prevention partners, a portion to recovery and treatment partners, and then a portion to law enforcement and justice partners. We'll open up a grant cycle and take applications, and And this year we distributed a little over 50,000 is how much we put out into different programs in each of those three categories total. So yeah, so that, so that's a very tangible thing.
Right.
That would obviously be missed quite a bit, but aside from that, the collaborations we have with the partners, we have 12 different sectors represented within our coalition. So lots of partnering going on, lots of very active partnerships, making sure people are working together and known, and of course, kind of facilitate everything off of a monthly meeting where we can all get together and plan and coordinate efforts. So, but yeah, so I think we'd be missed pretty well, and we see ourselves as a really foundational piece in the fight here.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that. So in just the last couple of minutes that we have today, if people, so we have put up while you've been talking, emails, Facebook, some of that information, phone number, but if folks are watching today and they want to get involved, they want to volunteer or find out more about your organization, Tim, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, for sure. They can obviously email us directly is fine. They can call directly. That'll get you right through to myself, and would be very open to conversations. One of the things people don't, I think, realize about our group, despite our best efforts to message this, is that it's a community coalition. So no one has to be affiliated with a particular group or an agency. They don't have to be working in the field. One of the sectors we're desperately trying to grow right now is our parent and family sector. So having people that are just in the community, people that maybe have the lived experience either through their own life or with someone that they know, people who's been in recovery. So there's a need to kind of expand that. But yeah, we always want to have people join us, and we promise to value their voice and make sure that everyone has something very valuable to offer. So we want to tap into that. But we'd love to see the community respond and not have to work in the field to come join us.
Yeah. Well, with about 30 seconds left, if you can, on quickly, what do you most like about what you do? What brings you the most joy?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think probably one of the things I enjoy the most is the opportunity to gain insights into things that maybe I personally didn't fully understand. For example, the barriers that exist for a person in need of recovery to get to recovery. It seemed there's a part of us that's just like, well, if they need recovery, they just go to recovery. And there's being able to learn what those real barriers are that are very, very tangible things that we sometimes can fix. That I enjoy that because it gives me kind of hope that, hey, as we address these things, then we can move forward and make some progress. So I really enjoy and those insights only come from interactions with people that have lived it. So I enjoy that.
The community is lucky to have you at the helm of this organization and doing this work. And so thank you on their behalf.
Thank you.
And my thanks to you, Tim, for joining me today and speaking all about drug-free Wayne County. It was wonderful to hear you share, what you all do and the great work that you provide to the community. And so for that, we do thank you.
Right, and thank you very much.
When we come back, Marcy Crull from Cope Environmental Center is going to be joining me. Stay with me. Welcome back. Marcy Crull, Executive Director for Cope Environmental Center, is joining me now. Hi, Marcy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on the third sector.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, first off, you are here to talk about Cope Environmental Center, which is new for you as Executive Director. You want to tell us about that and then kind of give us the when Cope started to where we are today, kind of just tell our audience.
Sure. Yeah, I am new to Cope, which it's been exciting transition. Started here the end of April, so I've been here for a few months. Things are going well, but we've had a lot change in the few months I've been here. We've had some other transitions with staff. We brought on some new people. We have a new program director. So we have lots of new energy here, and it's been really exciting with the new ideas and some new programming that's happening. Lots of work to do, but it's been great.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So Cope Environmental Center was founded in 1992 by Jim and Helen Cope and also by Francis Parks. All three individuals had a passion for our environment and for nature and for education. And so that's what really grew Cope Environmental Center. They created CEC to give permanent protection to this valuable piece of land here in Centerville, and then also to really teach others how to take care of the environment and how to really connect with nature. So it's a really cool legacy that they've left for our community. And Cope has came such a long way since 1992. We are now in our living building. So we have a certified living building that we are using as our education center here. What's really cool about having a living building, we're the only one in the state of Indiana. And we are one out of 29, I believe it's still 29 in the world. So it's a great resource to have here in Wayne County.
That's amazing, and what a wonderful asset for this community. Can you expand just a little bit on what it means to be a living building?
Sure. So our building had to go through a long process to be able to meet the focus of the Living Building Challenge. And that focus has 7 petals, that's what they call it. And each petal stands for something that we had to be able to achieve within the building of our education center. So it focuses on net zero water, net zero energy, the materials, all the materials that go into building the education center had to be vetted, had to make sure there was no toxic materials. There's a huge list of chemicals. They're called a red list, that they had to make sure nothing that was going into the building contained any of those. That the site, for whatever amount of acres that you are disturbing when you're creating the building or building on the land, they had to be able to put that same amount of land in an easement to protect it. The beauty part of it plays into it, equity, and the health of the occupants. So they had to really meet all of those focuses. And it was a long journey, but they did it. And it's just an amazing building. If people haven't been out, they should come out, tour, and learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there. And I've only barely scratched the surface of Cope. So how much property is Cope? Like how many acres is it?
We have 130 acres, maybe 131. But around that, we have many trails. There's oops, sorry, you can see my energy. If you sit still, the light goes off. Sorry about that. I'll have to keep moving. But, we're conserving energy that way.
Exactly.
So we have trails, forests, we have wetlands here, prairies, ponds. We have a nice collection of conifer trees, a playscape for kids. So there's lots to do when you come out here. Such a hidden gem, I feel like, since we're off the beaten path, but such a beautiful property.
Right. It really is. Okay, so tell us about the mission of Cope.
So our mission is to promote the sustainable use of the Earth's resources through education, demonstration, and research. So we use our property to educate children and adults. We call it our 130-acre classroom, but now we also use our living building as well. So we provide hands-on sustainability and nature-based programming. We have field trips that come out here from all schools in Wayne County and even outside our community. We take our programming into outreach to the schools, to other nonprofits, to senior living facilities. So yeah, that's our mission and a little touch of what we do.
Right. Well, that's exciting. I love it. It covers so much. What are your goals for the next year or so, if you have any kind of thing you want to share with us?
Well, since we really are kind of in this transition, having a new director, a new program director, our goal really for this year is just to get back, well, I shouldn't even say get back to pre-COVID numbers, but exceed our pre-COVID numbers, which we were able to do in our summer camp this year. So we're really just focusing on building those programs back up, making sure we have more in-person programming. We want to increase our participants and the types of programs we are offering to make sure it's, kind of well-rounded, not just youth, but that we're really touching on every aspect of our community. We really want to promote our living building now. I think, we really didn't have a great opportunity. We were certified and then COVID hit. So this year we have a big focus on really getting that information out and utilizing our building more for education purposes, but also we're open for rentals. So other people can come and rent our facility and use it. And I think the community's not really aware of that.
Okay.
And then we just really want to focus on connecting our community with nature, getting people outside and having that benefit.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Tell us how your organization is governed and how many staff do you guys have?
So we are governed by 21 board members or trustees.
Okay.
And then we have 8 staff currently. Some are part-time and seasonal. We have our education facilitators. So we have a few part-time, one that only focuses on our senior outreach, which is really cool. And then we also have our new program director. We have someone that oversees our rentals here. We have a fantastic facility and grounds manager. So yeah, that's a little bit about our staff.
Oh, well, that's very exciting. So we've heard all the wonderful things about COPE, and we're so fortunate to have it. But give our community folks some perspective on what would the impact be to our community if COPE didn't exist?
Well, I think it would be a big impact on our community. Our environment is the basis of all life, and therefore we really need to learn how to manage it and take care of it. And that is our mission, is to educate others so they can go out and be the voice and make changes in their lifestyle to help really take care of our planet. So I think, if we weren't here in our community, that could have an impact on future generations, really.
Right.
We do a lot of youth programming, but it gets them excited. And then those are our voices, and they're the ones that are growing up with those sustainable practices. So our planet can be here for them and for their future generations.
Yes, well, thank you. Thank you for looking out for our environment and our planet, because it needs all the love and help it can get. That's for sure. That is for sure.
We're a little rough on it.
We have been a little bit rough on it, haven't we? We maybe take things a little bit for granted when it comes to our wonderful environment. So if people are interested in donating or volunteering or something like that, what's the best way for them to connect? Or is that even an opportunity? I mean, donating, I would imagine, is for sure, no matter, you will always take a donation. But if someone wanted to get more involved with COPE itself and the work you do in the education or any of those things, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
They can give us a call, they can stop by, they can contact us on our Facebook page or visit our website. We absolutely love to get people involved. We utilize many volunteers here at COPE. Because of the amount of acres that we have. It takes a lot of people to help keep weeds pulled and invasives. That's just an ongoing process. We also serve so many students throughout the year and so many field trips that we can use help with just having extra, hands on deck here and more adults to help walk on the trails with the students. So lots of volunteer opportunity. And like I said, they can give us a call, they can stop in. We do a little small volunteer application, background check, depending on what area that you're working on, and really see what the volunteer's interest in. I'm sure we have some type of job that would fit that person's interest.
Right, right. Tell us how you guys get funding.
We have many different avenues. We obviously love individual donations that come in, but we also have memberships that you can purchase here. So it gives discounts on all of our programming. Some of the programming is free to our members. We also have corporate donations and businesses that sponsor different things throughout the year that helps our funding. We also apply for grants and community foundations, and then also through our programs, since some of our programs do have a charge.
Right. Well, a little bit of all different areas.
Yes.
Money can be a hard commodity to come by, so I guess we all have to be creative and be open to all different avenues for that. So we have a couple minutes left. Tell me what you most like about what you do. What brings you the most joy?
Well, this property is beautiful, and just connecting with nature benefits people's mental and physical health. And I can say that is what I enjoy, seeing people just immersed in nature. Myself, if I'm having a stressful day, being able just to step outside for a minute, I really can see the impact about how nature can heal, soothe, restore a person. And that's what I love about COPE and being a part of this organization.
Well, thank you so much. We're very fortunate to to have you running COPE. So let's see. With that, I think we're just running out of time. So tell me just a little bit more about the programming that you guys offer.
So our programming can change from month to month, but we do have a few new programs that are consistent that we do every month. One is our Nature Tot. So it's a preschool group. So preschool and their caregivers can come out and participate in nature type activities, which is a lot of fun. We have a new senior only program called our Evergreen Seniors that will happen monthly. Okay. We do outdoor yoga each month. We're doing a new Limit the Landfill, so you can learn how to take things that you have around the house, and instead of just tossing them, how can you upcycle or repurpose those items? And that happens every month. We have a Maker's Monday, so how to take things in your home and turn them into things that you need. Okay. So that's really cool. Wow. We also have our Critter Connection. So we have animal ambassadors here that cannot be released back in the wild, and we use those to educate. And that's always a big popular activity with kids.
Well, great. Well, they'll have to check out the Facebook or your website and take a look. Go take a look at COPE Environmental. Marcy, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you all for joining me today, and we'll see you next time on The Third Sector.